Hi, this is Scott, the Tall Woodworker. Welcome to my shop. Today I'm going to be turning a series of marking pencils out of these blanks. I keep different colored shop pencils in my apron for marking different colors of wood. However, as you can see in this picture, the two different pencils I use are the same color shell, so it's hard to differentiate. I'm making these pencils out of three different color woods: bloodwood, white ash, and claro walnut. This way I can differentiate the different colors of the pencils just by looking at the shell. So you just saw me cutting out the blanks, and now I'm boring out the hole in the center. One slightly unique thing about these is the fact that one of the barrels has a threaded side as well as a non-threaded side. You need to make sure that that threaded side is pointed towards the nib. Once I've identified that, it's time for the prep of the tubes by scuffing them with some 40 grit sandpaper, and then we'll go ahead and use some CA glue to glue them in. I'm making sure to be very careful to not get any glue on those threads. Here I'm squaring the ends of the pen blanks. I want to point out that for this kit, the tubes are thicker than most traditional pens, so I had to use a different pen mill in order to keep it centered. And now on to the turning of the pencils. I'm going to show you all three very sped up. I wanted to show some of the differences between these as I was cutting through them. The white ash and the claro walnut went through super quick and were shaped right away. The bloodwood took a lot longer to do. But, as is the case with any pen, it's the usual bring down the material to the bushing size, then sand it, and then seal it. Here you see me shaping the claro walnut. And finally, the bloodwood. After shaping, it's time for sanding. I use all 5 of my different sanding strips by first sanding while the lathe turned on, then going back with that same sandpaper grit and rubbing the blank side to side to get rid of any circular marks left by the lathe. Since these pencils will be used in my shop where they might get dropped and otherwise banged around, I decided to use a CA finish to seal them up tightly. This provides a nice hard protective finish while also enhancing the grain pattern on the wood. Now for the most nerve-wracking portion of this particular pen kit build. There is a ring that sits on the top of the uppermost blank, and in order to make room for that ring, you have to go back and clear out some of the wood to expose the brass tube. And if you want to know why I was so scared of doing this, you'll see it right about here. The fibers of the wood actually bent under the blank, causing it to pop out. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to salvage this, but luckily I was able to clean out the fibers from underneath, reseal it, and still was able to get it functional again. However, it means I had to go back, scrape off all the super glue, re-sand it, and re-glue it. But in the end, I was actually very happy with the results, and you can't even tell that there was a split in that wood. So now that we're back on track, it's time for a wet sanding using the micro mesh pads. I use the same technique on these as I do with the sanding strips, by having the lathe turned on, rubbing them up and down, turning off the lathe, and then rubbing side to side. I do this through all 9 of the sanding pads. I'm really happy with how the grain patterns turned out on all 3 of these. I think the walnut is one of my favorites to look at. So I've already assembled the first 2, and here I am assembling the third. So first you attach the center band and the top band, squeeze the 2 together, and then you thread on the nib. Once you get that, you have to put in a drop of CA glue on the top plunger to get that to stay in place. And there you go. 3 different marking pencils made out of 3 species of wood. Claro walnut for the dark, bloodwood for the red, and white ash for the white marking pencil. I'm torn between which one I like the most. It's a toss-up between the bloodwood and the claro walnut. I'm really happy I was able to salvage this after the incident with the parting tool. You can't even tell anywhere on here that there was a tear out. All I really did was just reseal it with some CA glue, clamp it together, and then refinished it. So really happy that that one ended up working out for me. If you like the video, please hit the thumbs up icon. It really helps my channel as I try to grow. And I hope you subscribe to my channel as well. Make sure you hit that bell notification icon. That way you get notified whenever I post new videos. Until next time, thanks for coming to my shop.